thanks for that background, Mpho. And Ioan, just, as we bring you into the conversation, it might be helpful for our conversation now to just get a brief sense of the genesis of this particular approach. And Mpho spoke about you having experience at INSEAD with some of the people who had been doing the conceptual groundwork around this particular framework. So let's maybe touch on that, and then we'll get to a few of the case studies and the applications of the framework that might be able, I guess, to shine a better spotlight on the tools and how they can be used to respond to specific business problems.
Okay, thank you, Ayabonga, for the introduction, Mpho. Indeed, I'm an innovation consultant, and I've been really keen on blue ocean strategy since the moment I came on, across the concept. I studied at INSEAD during my MBA, and one of the authors, Kim, was my strategy professors at the time. So everything really excited me. And I had the opportunity to work with him in a think tank he created to advise the government, so applying blue ocean strategy on a national level. But the way they created this concept was based on their studies over 15, 20 years across different industries, looking at how companies with smaller resources can actually win when competing with companies with large resources. So what they noticed is that they made some unconventional strategic moves, let's say, that defies the competitive-based strategy that we're all accustomed with. And they looked at all those strategic moves, and they realized there's a pattern. In order to win, those companies did not compete in the same market as their competitors, but they looked for new demands in the form of what they call non-customers. And that was the new demand they captured, and it was the market they created. Hence, they had this metaphor of a blue ocean where you don't have competition to start with. And it was amazing that out of the companies, over 100 companies they studied executing these strategic moves, they had 14% of the blue ocean moves accounted for about 40% of revenues of the total company studies, but more interestingly, about 60% of profits. So basically, they looked at, they identified a pattern. Those companies, not only they create unprecedented value to their customer or non-customer group, but also they reduce some costs. They reduce some factors from the value proposition, which are not important anymore to the new non-customer group. Therefore, they achieve a decrease in the cost structure as well. So they call this value innovation, the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation with high value and the low cost.
And I think, this notion of the cost leadership, which is the last point that you are making, is a very interesting one, because, even if you look at the theory or the sort of literature around innovation, I teach a lot of Joseph Schumpeter's work, and a lot of what he spoke about was this idea of being able, on the basis of doing things a bit differently, to realize cost savings that place entities on a different path of profitability. What I think for me is an advance with this one is this idea of using a selection of differentiation alongside that cost leadership to give you a defensible and a very sort of resilient market position. And that's something that I find quite interesting, Ioan, in this particular framework.